Hi Flosstube, my name is Lisa and this is my very first Flosstube video. I've been watching Flosstube videos for a while now and I've really enjoyed them, and I've subscribed to like a million of you, and I watch y'all as I stitch in the morning and on my lunch break. And so I've been thinking about doing my own Flosstube video for a while. And I've actually planned to do it for several weekends and chickened out every time. So here we go. This is my very first one. And I'm hoping I actually publish it. I thought as my first one, I would do just a little get to know me video, because that seems to be kind of an easy thing. And I love watching get to know your needleworker videos. So again, my name is Lisa. And I live in Pelahatchie, Mississippi, which is about 30 minutes or so east of Jackson, the capital of Mississippi, which is central Mississippi. And I actually work in Jackson. I work for the state. I am an accountant, and I'm the director of the Office of Fiscal Management for the Department of Finance and Administration. That's a whole long title, and all it means is my office enforces the accounting rules. We make sure agencies process their payments and have all their documentation in order to be good stewards of the citizens of Mississippi's money. So that's what I do to support my stitching habit. I have one daughter. She's 29. And she lives in Louisville, Kentucky, which is way too far away for me. I wish she was still in my nest. But she's beautiful and she's doing her thing, and I'm very proud of her. I have other hobbies besides stitching. I sew. I enjoy sewing clothes. When my daughter was younger, I made all of her clothes, and now I like to make my clothes because, well, let's face it, when you look at what the stores have for us plus-size women, they're not very attractive. So I prefer to sew my own clothes. I quilt and I knit. I enjoy reading, and I play the djembe. And a djembe is an African hand drum. I also facilitate a drum circle with my partner. And in another video, I'll introduce you to my drum and let you see what that's all about. This tag asks about your favorite movie and book and all that, but I'll just say that I love horror, I love science fiction, and I love fantasy. So movies, my tastes run to things like Aliens or the Star Treks, Star Wars. I like a good ghost story, not the stupid ones that they have today, but good ones. Things like that. My taste in books runs the same way. Some of my favorite authors are Stephen King, Jonathan Kellerman, people like that. Kind of dark, but I like mysteries and I like to be scared. I wanted to talk about my stitching and how I got started stitching. I have been stitching for almost my whole life. My mother didn't stitch, none of my aunts stitched. Instead, when I was 10, the school I was in had what they called Friday afternoon clubs. I think it was a way for the teachers to get a break from us. But the boys got to choose things like, I don't know, shoppy kind of things. And the things for girls, there was a tea club, which I wasn't interested in all. And then they had what they called a needlework club, an embroidery club. So I went to that one. My very first encounter with embroidery, and I consider cross-stitching a form of embroidery. To me, embroidery is any time you have a needle and thread and you put it on something. I even go past fabric. But anyways, my very first encounter with embroidery was needlepoint. It was a little owl, and I'm going to show you my very first piece of embroidery work. It's hilarious. I even tried to stitch the little squares down there, and I stitched the corners that indicate where you're supposed to frame. I ran out of this, and I had my mother get me some more white yarn, and it doesn't match. And here's the back. I was hooked. I just love this little owl. I just thought it was the most fun. And from there, I started embroidering on my jeans. And understand, this was the 70s. So it was smiley faces and puppies and all kinds of cool things. Well, I, at age 10 and 11, had the coolest jeans in school because I had all this embroidery all over my jeans. So all my friends wanted me to stitch on their jeans. And I also, because I enjoyed this so much, my mother would buy those funny 70s orange and those olive green crewel kits, and I loved them. And I stitched everything she bought, and I wanted to show you just a couple of things from that time of my life. This, see, the olive greens, the orange. This was a crewel kit my mother bought, and I stitched for her. These were, do you remember Aunt Martha patterns? These were Aunt Martha owls. And I stitched them and actually framed these myself when I was about 14. And this one that I gave a fuzzy tummy to. So I was really enjoying all of these embroidery forms. Then when I was about, I don't know, 14, 15, I discovered cross stitch. This was my very first cross stitch leaflet. I was, of course, 14-year-old girl in love with horses, and I did this one. What I didn't do was leave enough room around the edge. But here's my very first piece of cross stitch. And I just folded it up because there was no way to frame this with that tiny inch all around. And I've been thinking about it, and I may sew some material around it and do something with it because, well, you know, I'm very fond of all my little firsts. Okay, so I'm in the year of whips with soulful stitching, and I wanted to show you just a few of my whips that I've been working on. I actually have an FFO from the Year of Whips challenge. I finished this little spooky spider ornament. That big piece on the spider was supposed to be red, but I accidentally flipped it, and I like that side best. But see, I made little tassels. So that's my first FFO in cross stitch for 2016. How sad is that? I worked on the Very Scary Mystery Sampler, which I received when it first came out, and I had done like a corner here. So for this challenge, I actually finished the first part. So I think of that as a mini finish. And I also have been working on Victoria Sampler's Pumpkin Patch Farm. I love Victoria Sampler. Her stuff is just so elegant, and I love to get the little packs that she does because I love silk. But anyways, I have finished 4 bands, and I'm fixing to put this away for now because I'm going to be joining in on the Santa's Village Stitch Along in our Year of Whips challenge in soulful stitching. So, I have bought a few things and I just wanted to share just a couple with you. I saw on, I don't remember, somebody talked about Tiny Modernist, Etsy, and I went to check her out, and I saw this pattern and just absolutely loved it. Little Kokeshi dolls. So I had to have that, and I'm going to, it's going to be one of my 2017 starts. And speaking of 2017 starts, way back in 2005, I was on eBay, and I found this crewel kit that I just loved. It was a forest that had little animals in it, but it was $130 for the kit. The kit, okay? $130. I'm like, no way. So I watched it. They never sold it, and every so often I just pop on there just to see if they were still had that ridiculous price on it, and they still do. Well, I was on there a few weeks ago looking at it and wondering, and I just thought, well, let's just search and see. It's called Forest Reborn, and it's a 75 kit. But I found it on Etsy for $40, and I was ecstatic. This is it. I have been wanting this kit for 16 years, since 2005. I watched that thing on eBay, and I got it, and I'm so excited. This is going to be my January 1st start, and it's just, the anticipation is just, I just can't wait to open it up and put my first stitches in this kit that I have been coveting since 2005. So I think that's a good start for my first video. Hopefully I will make another one if I'm not too embarrassed by this. I do have a blog, and I'll put the link below, but it's weirdneedles@blogspot.com, weirdneedles.blogspot.com. And hopefully at some point I'll learn to edit videos if I continue doing this, and I can take out all my mistakes. Although I must admit, I really like it. But I really like it when y'all don't edit your videos. I like the realness, the liveness. It feels like I'm stitching with a friend, and we're just talking. So that's it for my first video. And I hope you have enjoyed meeting me. I know I've commented on a lot of the Flosstube videos out there, and I'm in the Facebook groups with y'all. So I love meeting y'all on your Flosstube videos. So I hope we will be Flosstube friends. Thanks.